You're going to encounter people. Maybe you know some of them, maybe not. But don't worry. Some of them are just meeting each other for the first time. You're going to encounter people. Maybe you know some of them, maybe not. But don't worry. Some of them are just meeting each other for the first time.
It is our time to start our session. And first of all, I want to welcome our friend Tobias, James, as it's referred Toby. Yeah, it's right. So you're welcome. Also, our friend Toby, he used two languages, English and Swahili, but Swahili so many. And when he understands, he can provide the answer for you. So we have in our session, we'll start with a short presentation. You can tell who is him. I can start the presentation on making documentary. And after that, we're gonna watch his WATU documentary as our case studies of today. And after that, we can welcome questions, comments, and just do the discussion of the class. At the ending, we will provide just the farewell certificate for all participants, as we organized it before. And he is happy to be with you. And before coming in this class, he told me that before we can understand that we will need many students like this class, and I think he's happy for you are welcome. So, Toby, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Haya jamani, habari zenu? Mambo vipi? Mimi najua Kiswahili kidogo. But I will do the presentation in English. I'm very sorry. That is my bad. I'm not good enough in Swahili. Although I have lived in Iringa for 1 year, I've not learned so good. We will start with a short presentation. Mr. Caunter asked me to provide some hints and tips and tricks and just some short beginner level facts on how to do a documentary. That is for every entry level, nothing is required. I tried to make the concept in a way that is just for everyone. So, we will start with a short overview. I will give you an introduction also to myself, who I am. You've heard a few things, but I'd like to add a few more facts about myself. Then we will have a short look on what is a documentary. I know we are in university, and as you guys know, in university we talk about theory, and I don't like that either. But we will have a short look at some theory, and then we go into practice, like how to do it. And it will be very short. I know it's late. I've been awake since 6 a.m. in the morning, so we are all in the same team. About myself, I am 26 years old. I'm from Germany, from a town called Magdeburg, which you don't have to know. That's very, very small. I'm there as a university student, just like you, at the Otto von Guericke Universität. That is a very difficult German word. It's just OVGU, that is my university. I am a student of media literacy, which is the translation into English It is a difficult word to translate. I like to, most of the time I translate with media and education. Because in our field we try to understand media, so how it is affecting humans, and also how can we use media to maybe teach the humans. That is, so I think now you have a small idea. I graduated this year, earlier this year, with my bachelor's degree. So I'm a very fresh bachelor graduate. And I've just started my master's degree in the first semester. So I'm also very fresh and new at my own university again. The first film I ever did was in 2016 in Tanzania. Because I have not laid out all of the points about me and my connection to Tanzania, but it goes like a very long time. I have been, my school, which I went to make my A level, like Form 5, Form 6 in German. We have a partner school in Makete, in Jombe district, Lupalido Secondary School is it called. And in 2016, since I have been active in the partnership project for years, we have been able to make a journey to Tanzania to meet the Tanzanian students and to school here. And back then my teacher told me that I should record something, like my friend here is doing. Like she gave me a camera and said, you need to record, you need to document. And I didn't want to. I just didn't want to. It sounded like a lot of work. But then afterwards she forced me to also cut together, like edit the video. And that was my first ever film which I made. And then years later I was thinking about that experience, being like, I like that. It is nice, you get out, you be active, you can be creative. And I like working with like technology and also people. So and then when I was choosing what to do in university, like what field to study, like this came together. So thanks to Tanzania, I am now a filmmaker because everything started here. But very seriously, I'm doing this filmmaking. It's not a job, but it's more like a hobby, like a passion. For 5 years now, I have a very, very nice teacher at my university. She is a woman who has been traveling all the world and making documentaries. And in my bachelor's degree, we just had beginner seminars. So she gave us some introduction into how to use the camera, how to write a story, how to edit. And then from there on, I took what I've learned there and then taught myself mostly by self-learning through YouTube. It's no shame learning from YouTube and also no shame learning from Instagram, I can tell you. It is very much a good thing if you use that wisely. And until today I have done many different kind of projects within the university, but also outside of university. Even to this day, some of them were paid by customers, so I was lucky enough that I also made a little money sometimes. So I've done short films, feature films, people acting, I've done documentaries, music videos, rap hip-hop videos, also some animations, after movies for big events like festivals, and also live streams. That is not everything, but I think that sums up a little bit what I've done or who I am. Is there any question to my person? Until now? Okay, maybe later. Then again, here you can have a small overview that is I put some of the stuff on YouTube. It's not everything can be there because I don't have the rights to do it, but you can see there's different kind of stuff I've done over the years. But nothing like when you can see the numbers of views, it's not big. That is just for passion, for hobby. That is not like millions of people watch that. And then for my bachelor's degree, I finished with my documentary, which I called WATU. For you, this is a common word, you know what this means, but you need to understand I was planning this documentary, this final film for my degree, from the perspective that the audience will be German people who have never met Tanzanians and who have never been to Tanzania. So that is the whole concept about the film, which you will watch later. So I'm very, very interested in the perspective on how you receive the film. how you like it, what maybe you can even criticize. And I want to say before we start with the theory that I'm very, very, very thankful that I can be here. As you see, I'm just a university student like you. I'm not a teacher, not a professor, not a world-known filmmaker. No award winners here. Maybe you guys later, but not me. So I'm very, very thankful that I can be here. Thank you all that you are coming to this late evening. I didn't expect so many people. It's so nice. It's very, very nice. I'm very happy with that. So let's look at what is a documentary. First, we look at what this wonderful man, Martin Scorsese, says. He's not a documentary filmmaker, but I think going further, this quote is a good entry for us. So cinema is a matter of what is in the frame and what is out. So if you think about it for one moment, which it means is you as a director or you as a creator have to choose what should be in the frame and what is, how can you say, not good enough or can be left out. So that is important also when we talk about documentaries. And then I've taken as one example, there are of course many people or different people who have been discussing what is a documentary or how can you do it. And I have taken Mr. Bill Nichols, who is an American film critic and theoretician, best known for studying documentary film. He's a good guy to start with. And we will look at the 6 modes of documentary, like 6 different kinds of documentaries, just to give you an idea on what you can produce maybe. First, okay, now bear with me, I need to say that loud. Expository mode. This mode emphasizes a direct and verbal commentary, often through voiceover. So this is, you are journalists, right? So this is what you know from like news, like television or stuff like that. When someone is, you have the pictures, like you see the footage from, maybe we have a car accident somewhere, and you hear in the voiceover someone is explaining it. That is the expository mode. We go quickly through that. We're all tired. Then we have the second one, the poetic mode. That goes more into art. Not so close to journalism and facts and news. It's more about art, because this mode prioritizes the mood and tone and visual association. So you see the sunset. What can you associate the sunset with? You're on the beach, maybe at Dar es Salaam, maybe at Matema, and then maybe you're having a cold drink, maybe you're with someone you love, and you're spending, like it's romantic, you see it? So you have associations with that, and that is what this mode is playing with. So the footage that you choose, or what you even shoot, like purposely, with an intent to make associations. The third one, that is maybe the first that comes to mind when you think about a documentary, because we want to document reality. This mode, observational mode, strives for objectivity, aimed to observe the world without interference. And I put the little comic there, the fly on the wall. That's like the metaphor to use. So that is mostly what I've done with WATU also. You can see that there. Ideally, you want to achieve a situation where you're following someone with the camera, but the person which you are filming is completely forgetting that there's a camera, so that the situation is just neutral and organic and happening the way it would happen even without you recording it. That is very difficult, and even the camera being in the room changes some things, but you need to come as close as possible to like this ideal state as an observer. Then the participatory, let's go with that, you can read it yourself. This mode involves interaction between the filmmaker and the subjects, often through interviews. Again, something you guys may be familiar with from the journalist perspective. You're doing interviews. Like a filmmaker can even sit in the frame, you as a journalist can even sit in the picture, in the movie, and interview people. So you're part of the film. That is this participatory mode, you're participating as the producer. We need to make a a distinction between the participatory mode and this one, the reflexive mode. That one calls attention to the filmmaking process itself. So you can say the topic of the film is not maybe children playing football, but the topic is how the filmmaker is portraying these kids playing football. So it is about the process. It is more like me, myself, talking about how do I want to depict that? How can we change it? Is it good enough? But all of this in front of the camera maybe even. But that is not participatory mode, because participatory mode, that is more like you're not really talking about the filmmaking process, you are just part of it, you're in there, and here it's about that creative process. And the last one, we are almost done. We have the performative mode. This mode emphasizes the filmmaker's subjective experience and personal involvement with the subject. Again, if I am a football trainer of those kids and I'm making a film about those kids, which I know for 2 years, I have a different involvement with my subject matter, and the way what I want to tell maybe of a story is a different one, which I would have if I'm not the football teacher also. So if I take any one of you and put you into a completely foreign context, something which you don't know. Maybe if you've never played football in your life and you don't watch it and you don't like it, and I put you there and I tell you, for your exam you have to make a 5-minute film about football. It will be a completely different story as if I take the biggest, maybe Simba fan from this room and say, that's not your task. So now we are done with those. Why am I telling you all of this? That there are so many different modes, and yes, it's hard to pronounce the words maybe, and it was a little bit much, I know. But it is important that these modes can be overlapping, and a modern filmmaker is often using more than one element. So what I want to tell you is that there's no strict rule on how to do it. You see, there's not like we can come to class and I can stand here and I can tell you, look, this is my film WATU, here's how I've done it, and that is the correct way to do a documentary, to do a film. That is not the case, and that is my main point I want to get across today. You have seen that there are so many different perspectives you can choose from how to approach the filmmaking process, your subject, or even the message that you want to convey. That is totally up to you, and you can feel free to mix them all together to create your vision, what you want to do, what you want to tell the world. That is, I know that's now a little bit far maybe, or a step outside of the journalism world, but I'm coming here as a filmmaker, more of an artist than a journalist. So I'm sorry for that, but even the journalists, we are working in the same field, we're coming from the same team, I would say. So you can see when you're not reporting on facts and news, maybe if you're doing something a little bit more freely, it's like maybe the football team again. If you're talking about those, you can choose, you can decide how to portray them, what to convey, and what will be your message. Okay. Now, a little rundown on how to do it. Now I've told you that there's not one way to do it, so please keep that in mind. But let me tell you from my own experience on maybe how to approach if you're producing a film, documentary, can be even a feature film. So first and foremost, find a story, a topic, or a theme. So maybe it's a person you find very interesting, someone who can tell good stories, someone who's just a very honorable person, or someone having an interesting life. Or can be maybe the topic of, I don't know, plastic pollution, like plastic bottles lying around, or, I don't know, alcoholism. Take one of the interesting topics, like one of the topics that's moving society. Or take a topic no one is thinking about and make it interesting. Or a general theme. Maybe a theme is something, could be an emotion like sadness or happiness, and then you can explore that maybe. And then second step would be develop a message. So what do you want to tell the people? What do you want to tell the world? that you need an idea of what you want to say. So if I take the football team again, I want to show that it is good fun and healthy time spent if children play football and not watch like TikTok on their phone maybe, or eat or drink soda in their free time. So that is like the message I want to across. Get it. And then if you're an expert already in the field, you're good. If you don't know much about the field, maybe it's good to educate yourself so you can evaluate which perspective is good, what do I need, what can I tell, what has to be in there to be a whole package. And then organize, develop a plan, like who to interview maybe, to which places to go. Think about in detail about your gear that you take with you. So for example, for WATU, I was coming here to Tanzania it was 2 trips and 4 weeks in total. Like both trips combined were like 4 weeks of shooting. So like having enough batteries, having backup batteries, having cables and all of that stuff, like memory cards. Think about that in detail. That's very, very important, and have a plan. So the main takeaway is be prepared in detail and have a clear vision. Because if we move on to then shooting our material, going out into the field, it's very important always have your interest in mind. And interest means your goal or your message. You can call it whatever you want. But you have a certain goal in mind, a certain interest in the scene. For example, if I want to make a documentary about this university and I would be here today trying to shoot this seminar or this lecture, so what do I want to show? Do I want to show the people, the lecturers? Is it about the people teaching? Or is it about the students who are listening, who want to learn? So it depends. My friend here is filming me or maybe taking photos. So he's not interested in you right now. You see, that is what you have to decide as the journalist or filmmaker in that situation. What is happening? Because some situations can get very crowded. A lot of things happening. And you need a clear vision in your mind. Like, okay, there's something happening there and there. 3 things at the same time. Which is the most valuable for my goal, for my message? And then you go there and then you stay there. Exactly, so we can skip a few things. Yes. Important also to try and think in the past, present and future. It sounds a little bit complicated, but what it means is that you can sometimes get lost in your camera. Like you're just thinking is it shaking, is it sharp, is it bright enough? Like in all of those settings, because you have to adjust maybe in the moment, a lot of those things. But you need to be present, like in the situation also what is happening. And then you need to keep in mind, okay, what happened before and what is happening next. Maybe, for example, if, again, I'm making a documentary about this university and someone is showing like the new students around the campus, like the whole place on the first day. So I'm following them. And so I need to hear, okay, where are we going next? Because maybe I want a shot not only from behind, like walking behind them, so I just see their backs. Maybe I want them coming through a door, like in front of me. So if they say we go to the library next, let's go there. Maybe you can just grab your camera and just run there quickly, adjust everything, and have them coming in. That's what I mean with in the past, present, and future. So to read the situation, what happened, what is happening currently, and what is maybe happening in the future. Because you're not always fast enough to react in time, so sometimes you have to almost participate the things that will happen. Then a few important tips. The 10-second rule, if you decide for one thing that is happening, to record it. Even though maybe in the moment you start recording, something else is happening, like right from you, like in the back of the court, in the back of the room. Stay on your target for 10 seconds. Don't switch too fast. You need, like in editing, you need some room. You need a few seconds, like before and after. You can't just say, oh, it's 2 seconds, I can take it. Maybe then it's too short, maybe it's too shaky, maybe it's unsharp. That is not good, it's out of focus. So 10 seconds, that's like rule of thumb. Always be like, okay, I know this is important now, but I stay here. And then the camera tells you how many seconds it's running. And then you'll be like, okay, 10 seconds, okay, let's switch. That's important. And then back up your footage 3 times. You never know when your memory card dies. That's just things from experience. Back up your footage immediately after the day is done. Prepare your gear for the next shoot also means back up everything. Imagine we have done this. Maybe the football example, maybe the example from this university, or think about something that maybe interests you. So imagine now we have like a few days of shooting, or even just 1 day, maybe even just 1 hour. So you have some footage that is on your computer in your folders. What now? We need to edit. And then the one with the arrow, that's the most important thing. We are talking about documentaries, that is for documentaries, not for feature film. Start from scratch. So you had an idea, you had a vision, you had a concept before, like what do I want to shoot, what do I want to tell, which people I want to meet, this and that. You had the film in your mind already. Erase all of it and start completely new. It sounds maybe a little bit like confusing and it doesn't make sense at first, but you need to see all your material like from a neutral perspective. Because now this is a reality that is there, this material is what you have to work with. And maybe your old concept it is not possible to create that film that you had in mind from that footage that you got now. And you need to be free from that. So you start new. You start by sorting. I have a picture on the other side. You start by sorting. I use paper to visualize. I know we are now a lot of us using like computers, phones and stuff for notes and organization, but sometimes good old paper and pen is your best friend. So this is from my apartment in Germany. These are, I think it was around like 50 pages of scenes. So from all the footage that I had, it was around 20 hours of just material. I was sorting them into scenes, like broad topics. You know, one day we go to this place, another day we go to this place. So these are the 2 papers, for example. Or you have a nice discussion between people, then that's another paper. Like topics, like scenes, yeah? And then they have like this color code, that's something I use to indicate that quality, which one are very good, which one are not so good. And that took a long time to look through all the footage, like 20 hours. Imagine you have 20 hours of footage. That means just looking through all of it takes you 20 hours. That's just like watching a video that is 20 hours long. And then you need to make notes, so you're stopping it. So you can imagine it's like doubling the time just for looking through it once. Maybe you have to look through it twice. You see? And then on the right, the picture shows you like the first concept of that new film then. Because the old concept was gone. That was erased. It was, we started new. So I took those papers then and tried to erase them into a storyline. Into a story. How can they combine to be telling a story in the end? Let's go back a little bit. So that takes a long time, but it's very, very important. You can't just start like editing things together when you like have a lot of material. Of course, when you're just having 20 minutes, maybe you just shot like for a little like video. Maybe you're working at the radio or you're working for a TV station and you just prepare maybe one minute of information. You don't need to put that there. I'm talking about like documentary films. But it's good to understand. Maybe one day you get stuck in your footage. Maybe you have a lot. You don't know where to start. Maybe this is then an approach you can have. And then when I'm doing a real film like my film, then I started writing a script. So no script before that, then I started writing the script, then I built a storyboard. That's just like a script with pictures. And then I made a rough cut in like the editing software to check, is the idea that I developed, like is it working? Is it transporting my message that I want to transport? And now comes the best story about the whole film WATU, because I did all of this, and then I had the rough cut, like the first version of that film, and it didn't work at all. It was absolutely terrible. It was bad, just plain bad. So I consulted my professor at university, and I was like, yeah, you can watch it, but it's very bad. And she told me, we were calling on the phone like for 1 hour of feedback, and she said in very, very nice words, but I make it shorter, she told me, start again. Like again. Like even consider reshooting material. Which meant for me, okay, I'm in German. I can't just go to Tanzania and I don't have like a project lined up, which is the idea that I want to do. But, so you will see in WATU that these are two projects. One was in 2022 and the other one was in 2024. So the whole film took about 3 years to make because of that issue. So the first shooting after 2022 didn't work at all. Material was bad, project was bad, I was very, very unhappy with that. So, and then I was trying to start fresh, and then I got like very, very lucky that there was another chance for me to go to Tanzania to follow another project, and I was like, okay, this is the chance now. Let's do it that way. And I even switched, if you remember, we talked about the modes. I switched the modes from the expository mode, like just standing there and recording, into, I think it's the reflexive mode, I'm not sure right now. But in one of those where you talk about it yourself, like reflect it yourself as a filmmaker. So you can see, you can learn from that it doesn't always have to go like that one way. Maybe you go this way and it's like not going well. You go back, you start going another way. And then you try and you try and you try. And then in the end, you need to be satisfied, but also find an ending point. Because I can tell you, you can spend endless nights, like hours of your life, weeks of your life, editing the smallest changes no one will ever notice. But for you, you know every frame in this movie, every sound, everything you know, because you put it there, you recorded it, and you know all of its flaws, like from beginning to end. And the real artist, in the end, must hate its own work, because you only see the flaws, and hopefully the other people like it really. So find an ending point. There must be a day where you say, okay, this is the last time I'm doing corrections, and then it's done. Then export it, upload it, done. Because otherwise, if I have not stopped with this project, I can promise you. So, let's shortly talk about distribution. That's important for me. Show your work to the world. Organize something. I showed you like the YouTube channel from me. That is all I have. So there's no one is putting that on streaming services. No TV station is buying that. It's not running anywhere. But we live in a great time, actually. We have all cameras in our pockets. Every one of us can make movies. You just need to start. You just need an idea. But you can also publish. And that was like a big issue before. Like, who can make DVDs or even cassette tapes or whatever they had back in the 80s? So now everyone can publish on YouTube for free. You can share with your friends, with your people, with your family. And even I was so surprised, like, people shared my film around, and it doesn't have so many views on YouTube. But people shared that around, and then even, like, from my friends, they showed it to their mother. Okay, I can understand that. But the mother showed that then to her colleagues who didn't even know who I am. Because my friend isn't even studying with me. He's living in a different town. And then you hear stories like that, and then you be like, that's crazy. I can, like, okay, that stuff is really reaching people. And what I want to tell you is, it's not about money or anything. I paid for this whole thing my absolute self. That's completely self-funded. The university didn't give me money. They gave me a little bit of technical support. Okay, that's fair. But everything I had was like saving up money, like little by little. I'm a full-time university student, but I'm working 2 jobs on the side. Sometimes it's hard. Just to save up some money, because like doing stuff like that can be very expensive, especially with the gear, especially with traveling if you do something like this. But you're never in for the money if you're in for the message, which I think is very, very valuable. So share it, and then even try out festivals or send it around. I mean, the worst they can say if you send to like the official like destinations, like film festivals or TV stations, the worst they can say is just no. Of course, expect rejection, but you never know. So if someone would have told me like half a year ago that I would be standing today in Iringa, like the place where I was living as a volunteer for 1 year, I was working at Radio Fura in 2017. Like I'm standing here now at the University of Iringa talking about my film because the people from university invited me. I would have just laughed and be like, are you crazy? Like, how the hell should that happen? Like, why? I'm just a student, I just like you. But you see, you never know what happens. So do your art, share your work, and then let the world consume it, let the people enjoy it. Okay. Afterwards, expect some doubt and negative emotion and the feeling of emptiness. Now we're getting a little bit negative. Which means sometimes if you're working for a very, very long time on a very, very big project that you are very passionate about also, when it's finished, it's like something is missing in your life. You had always like this one thing you're working on, you're caring for, and now it's done, and now it's like on YouTube and that's it. And what am I doing now? That's a good question. What else can I do? What else can we do? There are so many different things in the world, so many different stories to tell. Stories that you can tell, that your friends can tell, that your family can tell, or that all of those beautiful people around the globe can tell. And you have maybe the gear or the knowledge or just the passion or the phone to just tell those stories. If that is something that interests you, if you want to tell stories from people, you can. So find a new topic, find your next project. Use your project as something to grow. Even me, myself, we can watch all of the stuff I've done in university, and you will hopefully see how it's getting better from project to project. Because that is the way. That is the way. It's not like, oh, I'm watching some YouTube tutorials and now it will be looking like Martin Scorsese's films. No. It's hard work, it's step by step, it's project to project. And the best way to really improve, if you're not like naturally given super talent or you have maybe rich parents who buy you all the gear that you want, then just make films. Make films, produce content, grow by your fucking project. Like keep it up, keep it going. And then always like, even for yourself, ask yourself, okay, next one I give 110%. It's enough, or 105, a little bit better than before. You don't have to make like huge jumps, but just go step by step. That's very important. Okay? I think that's it. So thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that was informative for you. If you got any questions, you can ask.
How much gear did you have? How many cameras? How many batteries? Just one camera.
I got this. I had a backpack that was full of gear, but I had like I think 5 batteries, which were okay for even for the long days. I maybe used 3 of them, but they were all new, and then charging stations. Most of the gear was like gear around the camera, like electricity, charging stations, cables. I took all that I had with me. Maybe I use it. The only thing that was maybe good, it's called a gorilla pod. That's like a very small tripod where you can adjust all the legs individually. That one was used maybe one time. The rest, it was all shot like handheld. Just using the strap, you can be pretty stable. Also, the GH5 from Lumix has a good stabilizer inside. So I'm not going to nerd about camera stuff that we can do outside this plane, but that is also good to know that you don't need like 20 cameras or the highest or the best gear or a gimbal or a drone or stuff like that. Yeah. You can tell stories. That's why I told you can tell stories with your phone. If you have a camera, you can do it. I mean, the footage looks nice, even here like on YouTube and stuff like that. But it's just that camera. It's pretty old already. She is working fantastically with me. But I've done so much stuff. Every day I'm a little bit in fear that that's the final day. That's the final day.
I'd like to know, like, how long did it take you to finish the whole documentary thing? And a funny question, didn't you feel like you needed to appear like in it so that we can see you? Because other people, they are very complicated. Like, did you really record it? Because we didn't see you even a single bit, like appear in the camera. So like, didn't you feel like you need to appear in it? That's the second question. First question, how long did it take you to finish the documentary?
I started like shooting the first project was in 2022 and the second one in 2024. And overall, you know, I've showed you the steps and how to make it.
So like you took
with planning,
combined the videos, different takes.
just the editing process or everything?
And like you said, you recorded in 2022 and 2024.
Yeah.
So it means within the video, within the video, there are footage which you took them from 2022, or they are all just from 2024.
No. That's combined. It's combined. So it took around 3 years. You can say 3 whole years. Because I started new, you see, I told you the first one wasn't working, then it would have been like 1.5 years maybe. But only editing, like finalizing that, took almost 1 year. So I started after the Tanzania trip in 2024, which was in February. Like I started sorting and planning like in March, and then it was shown this year in January. So it took almost 1 year to finish it. But I had sorted the other footage already, so that took away some time. Such a gift. For me, that's very special. Thank you for also bringing us together.